All right, Rich, welcome to episode 3. I see you're in the car.
Yeah, you know what? Right off the bat, I already really like this car, and I realized this is our 3rd episode, and we have done 2 SUVs. I'm probably
2 SUVs. The other one was a V12.
Oh yeah,
It was a.
I can't even remember. I'm so bad at this.
But
I'm a sports car guy.
Yeah. To be fair, this one is definitely more sporty than the V12, so definitely more in your wheelhouse.
So let's go dive right in. Tell me about this beautiful car.
So shout out to my good friend Tara. This is her car. It's a 2018 C63S Cabriolet. So the S is just a little bit more higher performance model. Prior to that, AMG cars had to have it only in their VIN. So you'd see if it's equipped with the AMG performance pack or not, but you wouldn't see it in the badging.
Oh.
In this model year, they upgraded it. So now it says C63S versus the non-performance pack cars would just be the C63. So
this is why we have you on this, because you're just full of knowledge. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm a commoner. I wouldn't even know the difference. I just know it's a nice car. It sounded great, so I hope we can give
we'll
it
get
a
an
little
exhaust
rev later.
clip too at the end of this walkthrough. But a little bit about the specs. So about 505 horsepower,
Woo!
High 400s in the torque figures, and this car is fully stock. So later when we hear the exhaust, this is how AMG delivered it right off the bat.
Now, see, stock is my kind of thing. Like this is what I'm talking about when it's ready to go.
Yeah.
See, you like to tinker and play.
I can't leave it stock.
This is more my style. Roll in, pick it up, ready to rock right off the gate.
Yeah. So another thing to mention about the C63 is that on the surface, in a parking lot, whatever it may be, it looks, really like a normal C-Class, right? If you didn't know too much about cars, but something to note is that you can see it's actually wide body fenders. So the rear is pushed out, the front fenders are definitely pushed out versus a stock C-Class, it'd probably end about here.
Okay.
So you can see where the body line starts to.
So you got a wider body kit?
Wider body kit, and that's to fit the wider amount of tires because you're obviously making more power than with a stock one. And then in the rear here, we can see this juts out. So this is where it presents that it's wider than the normal C-Class. Yeah, like the vents and everything like that.
I love the interior of this vehicle.
Yeah.
Because red is my color. So I'm definitely big ups on the interior right now. Can you tell me a little about the interior?
Yeah, so oftentimes when you see red interior, a lot of times in Porsche, BMW, it's red everywhere. For this model, for this generation CAMG, it's just red inserts. So just the red and then the contrast stitching on the headrest and throughout the seats. But I think it's a really nice, compromise versus having everything red. For example, the dashboard, the steering wheel, a lot of these other cars are like fully redded out, but this one has a really nice contrast with the black.
So, if I was looking for something like this, what does a car like this run?
Right now, I would say they've actually held their value pretty good. I would say market value of these are about 60, 65,000.
Okay.
Yeah, for 2018.
And what kind of engine is in this again?
So this one's a 4-liter twin turbo V8, and it's the same 4-liter twin turbo in all of the 63 cars. So the GLE 63, C63, S63, all of these have the same variation of this motor.
Okay.
So it's super stout. It's been proven to be very reliable. A lot of guys go on the track with these cars. Even the AMG GT has a variation of this engine. And funny enough, Aston Martin has adopted this motor. So the Vantage also uses this motor.
I like that car.
And the DBX, the SUV, is actually based on the GLE and GLE Coupe AMGs.
Okay. One thing I need to know though, because if I were to consider a car like this in the future, is as real estate agents, we drive a lot.
Yeah. How's the fuel economy?
How's the fuel economy?
It's quite good. I mean, even the owner of this car, Tara, she lives in Richmond, works 23 kilometers away, right? And in Burnaby. So she drives this every single day. And
I don't know how you have the exact 23 kilometers. That's kind of creepy, but I'm going to leave that out there.
I'm just saying, we drive to Richmond to Burnaby all the time, for work. So I'm really in tune. But in terms of fuel economy, I mean, you're not breaking the bank too much. And the miles per gallon is going to blow you away. So,
okay. Tell me about the seats. Like, is there like curved seating? Like what?
So this one, unless the S Coupe or the CLs, no massage seating, but heated and cooled seats, contoured seats. So when you're taking the corners, you're going to be held in there. You're not going to be sliding out of the seat.
I mean, it's super comfortable.
Super comfortable. And that's the perfect mix of daily driver sporty on the weekend, show up nice to a gala dinner. It does it all. And this is the one car solution.
Okay, my question is, can I put a baby seat in this car?
100%. Look at the hookup.
Oh yeah, there is a hookup.
You could have another baby, Rich.
No, let's start with one. Let's stick with one. Cabriolet, is it a hard top convertible?
Soft top.
Okay.
Soft top. So a little bit more reliable, and also they just go down faster than the hard tops. Also, hard tops, when it gets to the 5 to 8 year mark, they really tend to leak.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know.
a couple things too about this car. Again, fully stock, but appearance wise, all of the chrome exterior has been deleted. So right here, this used to be chrome.
Oh yeah.
Everything on the, like even the door handles used to be
So
chrome.
did this come like that?
No, so it was
Okay.
done after purchase.
Actually,
and
it's really nice.
it's really subtle.
Yeah,
but
you're
it
right.
changes the car completely. And
It's
then
really stealth.
the big thing that was done was the front grille. So this used to also be chrome insert, and it used to be
yeah.
the style of two parallel lines.
Yeah.
But this is called the Panamericana grille, so it's a homage to old school Mercedes racing. And this is the new style AMG grille, so this was also done on this car.
You know what? It's true. It's very subtle, but I actually really like it. I
Yeah.
like the blacked out, taking out the chrome.
Yeah, so I think, hey, we're gonna have to look for one for you soon. It's coming spring.
So let's hear it. Let's hear it.
For sure.
Let's hear it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, welcome to Curb Appeal. We are on episode 3. We're on 3 already.
Yeah.
Rolling along
Getting
here.
it going.
Okay, so let's start off with the cheers because
Cheers to that.
we're just kind of humming along here, having a good time doing this. So.
Yeah. And thanks again for everyone who's tuning in. We really appreciate, everybody tuning in, and make sure to ask, whatever cars you want to see next, whatever topics you want to see us do next, make sure you drop in the comments below.
Yeah, actually, that would be good. Hopefully,
Yeah.
people request nice cars, and then we can talk to people.
Yeah, we need to find those cars.
That's right. Well, today we had a great one.
Yeah.
I really liked it. So, thank you for our guest for bringing that in.
Yeah, I think this has been your favorite so far.
Yes, it has.
So, well, we'll jump into the topic, and it's a bit about these cars, and actually a play on our podcast name, the psychology behind curb appeal. Is going to be our first topic. So, for example, how does perception and the way people either see you or the way you present yourself, how important does that play into in business, in life itself, and everything like that? Basically, the psychology of face and curb appeal.
I think ever since I was young, I liked fashion. I actually took fashion in high school.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so I actually wanted to be a fashion designer,
the
but
hat
I
came
can't
from?
draw, so that stopped right away. But I actually took fashion and stuff in high school, and I actually went for an interview at a fashion school in Vancouver just to see, what was possible. But then I chose a more practical route. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. We'll yet to be determined. But I think curb appeal in terms of how you present yourself really matters, because I believe that if you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
Not because you want other people to think about you a different way, but for yourself to
Exactly.
project how you feel. So that's why I take pride in fashion and dressing how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that kind of confidence hopefully translates to other people.
Yeah.
And projects what you're trying to project, right? It's sad to say sometimes, they say don't judge a book by its cover, which is absolutely true, but sometimes
That's the case.
you
though.
do.
And what I really feel that is, for most occasions and most things, perception ends up being reality. The way people perceive that, they're gonna have that set in their mind, or the way people perceive social media, they're gonna, they're very few oftentimes they're gonna dive in and see what the reality is. They'll just take that face value, and in a way, there's double-edged sword to that, good and bad. But to play on that idea of look good, feel good, I always resonate with that term, because that confidence is going to allow you to present the best you to anyone you meet, and everything like that.
I mean, let's put it in 3 quick examples about what we're here to talk about, right? If you are trying to start a business and you have a brick and mortar location, and it looks like crap, but your food is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, people are still going to come, but people that can't walk by might not even come by because it looks really dingy. Is this even a
Exactly.
real place? Like,
Yeah.
I might get sick, right? In real estate, like I say, same thing. If you show up and you look like a slob, someone's not going to respect you because this is a professional setting and environment.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
And you got to show respect in terms of how you present yourself because it's a big deal what they're getting into.
Yeah, and very much like the restaurant, it doesn't mean that you're any worse at the job, but with that initial impression means everything. Same thing with listings, right? When you walk into a listing as a buyer and you see that, hey, the location is amazing, the floor plan is amazing, but then what if the property smells bad? What if it has like staining on the walls that could have been easily repaired prior to the showing, right? These are just perception things and again, curb appeal, visual things that
I mean,
change
I
everything.
wish that doesn't have to be the case because then
Right.
I wouldn't have to stage, I wouldn't have to take photos, and things would just sell just because, right? But
Yeah.
the reality is how people perceive things is how they want it and demand, right?
Yeah, but hey, speaking on staging, virtual staging now is so huge, and it's so good that like, do you even see a point in actual physical staging anymore?
I do, because it's like this job. People still want to be in person. You can see the virtual staging and it gives you an idea, which is awesome because
Yeah.
it's added value in terms of giving the space, an idea or how it could look.
Yeah.
But when you're in the space physically and there's nothing there, that is still a strategy.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you're talking about staging it and it is going to be staged, I think it does add to your listing.
I totally agree with that, but I also recently visited a place that made me rethink my staging completely. So what they did was they virtually staged the property, and then they got tape lines and showed this is how far the queen bed comes out to. This is how.
Oh, you
far...
never told me that.
No, this is brand new to me.
Oh,
so they had the poster of the staged room in that room, and then they had tape lines of how far the bed comes out. This is where the nightstand would be.
I don't know.
That's kind of interesting because then obviously you don't, and it's not really just to be like, oh, I'm saving money on staging, but then it comes down to like what's more efficient.
Okay, fine. So our next listing. Do you want to do that?
I can
bring that to your client. Let's see if they want to do that.
I mean,
we'll do it.
I have Station Square right now. They're more than happy.
Okay, let's do it. Well,
yeah.
So we're gonna show you when we do this virtual staging with taped off.
This is where the couch would be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we'll see what what people say about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, to me, I would compare it not to a listing that's staged, but to a listing that's vacant. Because then it allows them to see, oh, the couch would come out to here, blah, 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 without a tape measure. And then versus just being totally empty.
Yeah, no, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so I mean, that could be a try. But coming on to our next topic here, in entrepreneurship or in business or whatever, there are times where you have to bet on yourself. And there are times when, you might need a shoulder to lean on, right? So can you recall a big time where you just had to take the leap and kind of leap of faith and bet on yourself?
Yeah, I mean, this is all comes back to kind of where I started this whole journey, was starting my first gym with my other business partner. And we basically believed in ourselves that we had the talent and the people that will follow us because we believed in what we did. And we had to take that risk. Like I firmly believe you have to bet on yourself because it's not about success. It's about just the journey, right? If you fail, then you bet it on yourself and you knew you can't do it. But if you succeeded, then that's great because now you know you can do it. But I definitely think you need to bet on yourself. But that was one of the times that I did that and it panned out. But obviously a lot of hard work. It wasn't just doing it. There's more to it.
Yeah, definitely. And again, kind of to touch on the idea of betting on yourself, there's so many times in my life, like I definitely feel my life's been very privileged and I've had a lot of, support around me and everything like that. And that's great to have. But really the things that I've achieved or the things that I haven't achieved or failed at, I can really thankfully say I can only blame myself. And oftentimes I can only thank myself too, right? And that really comes down to the core of, if I took a risk, I believed in myself that I would come out the other end, with a certain type of outcome or with a certain type of goal. And I think without that kind of self-belief, even with all the support around me, it wouldn't be able to pan out.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
you make a good point. I think a lot of people want to do a lot of things,
yeah,
but I think a lot of people don't want to take that
the
leap.
risk. Yeah, and the
and
risk.
like, not even that they don't believe in themselves, but they just don't think they can, like, they don't have it.
Yeah,
right? Like they believe in
yeah.
themselves, but they don't think that
Exactly.
extra.
Or sometimes when people have the best support systems, amazing connections, right? Maybe like really big family backing. But then in order to take the leap or having that self-confidence, I think that's something you have to find within yourself, outside of, people around you.
And you can only find that by doing risky things.
Risky
right?
things. And
Because if you're comfortable, you're never gonna discover yourself, right?
for sure. And also, whether it's failures or whether it's successes, celebrating them all so that you can learn something. Because you only learn things from the things that you fail at, right? When you win, you don't often learn, a lot.
See, for me, the reason I'm compelled to do things is because for me, if I don't do it and then I regret not doing it, thinking it, that's worse for me.
Yeah.
That's always been like that's why I do things, because if I don't do it and like I think like later on, I'm like years later, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like I should have tried that, or what if I did that?
Yeah.
I hate that what if.
Ah,
That's the reason actually why I do things. I'm like, I just got to do it. If it doesn't work out, fine. But I can say I did it, and it's gone. It's off my like list, right?
100%. And oftentimes those are calculated risks. So it's not like, oh, at least if I tried it, you're not going to end up in the ditches just because you tried it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not gonna be reckless,
Yeah.
but it's always a calculated choice. But that for me, I have to kind of
That's the
answer that
biggest thing.
question. That was really one of the things. I have to just do it, because if
Yeah.
I don't, I'll be like, oh man, like I should have, or like, what if I could have done that? Like I hate that. That
And
gets me more.
on the flip side of that, about, self-belief and building yourself up psychologically through your failures, through your wins. One of my favorite quotes from Arnold Schwarzenegger is that somebody asked him one time in an interview, how does it feel to be a self-made man, with all your successes and everything like that? And he answered with, I don't believe there's a such thing as a self-made man, because along the way, you received advice, you had a mentor, you had a pointer to go hit this and that. And I really wholeheartedly like believe in that, right? So even within the power of self-belief and grinding, and you're the one that spent all those hours alone making it happen, I always feel like, hey, there's somebody along the way that gave you a pointer, there's someone along the way that gave you advice and motivation, right? And yeah, I think it's a culmination of all of that that allows success to happen in any which way.
I see your point,
Yeah.
but I believe in the self-made man.
You believe in the self-made
Yeah,
man?
I mean, I see your point. I get
Yeah.
it, but someone has to take the horse by its reins, and
Someone's got to be like,
someone's got to drive the car.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
someone's got to take the hammer to the stone. And
That's right.
yeah, I see that side as well. Yeah. And kind of to touch on, cars, and we'll dive a bit into bikes. So here's a solo thing, for the self-made man, solo riding motorcycles. I know you got into it, and you know what's funny? I gave your mother a ride, and we had a little talk about you and motorcycles.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. See, you didn't
So
know this. So she told me that when you said I wanted to get into riding motorcycles, she was like, obviously, and good for her, protective moms. Oh, shouldn't do it. But she never told you not to do it because she knew you'd do it anyway. Is that the case?
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah,
I've always been like that.
yeah.
You can't really tell me what to do.
Yeah, yeah. So what was your first bike? Why did you get it? And what was your
So I mean, motorcycles are pretty cool. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie. My first bike was a 2006 Suzuki GSXR. Blue, like the class 600.
600.
The classic like blue, white, like.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was a freaking dope bike. Like, yeah. So I learned to ride. Actually did my road test with that.
Okay.
Like to learn is like, it's hard. Cause it's hard with a road bike,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
right? Like a sports bike, right?
Especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
I did that. I got that. And, I love riding a motorcycle because I can say it this way. It's like the modern day horse.
That's exactly how I felt about like getting into bikes.
It's very freeing. Like I haven't rode in a long time, and if I were to get a bike, it'd be more like side thing, toy. But it's when I rode, it was very freeing because it's just nothing but you and the road.
So true.
That's the one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like driving a car is awesome. Like I love cars, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the motorcycle is different. because you're exposed to the elements. You're like way more like with the car,
Yeah.
like the motorcycle, right? So for me, I would used to go on like rides on my own, and it's just like it's very relaxing, actually.
Yeah, I still do that
Yeah.
to this day, you know, especially summer evenings.
I mean,
and
yeah,
things
you
like
have lots of bikes and cars, so you know, I don't do
No.
that anymore. But yes,
But I would say like for myself, one of the most exciting things I did recently in terms of motorcycles was when I went on my trip to Japan. I rode from one coast to another coast on a motorcycle
did?
in Japan. Yeah, at the end of February, early
Oh.
March of this year.
there.
And I'll show you some photos, but exactly same thing. You know, for me, it's not enough just to go on vacation. Like, I want to feel free, and literally, it's the modern day horse.
That's like totally.
It really is the modern day horse.
Okay, what's a scooter then? Modern day donkey?
Yeah, it can still.
Okay, the last time I rode a scooter with one of my best friends,
Yeah.
we were in Thailand
Oh
and
my
we were
God.
doubling it.
The Thailand scooter story.
Yeah.
Did you guys crash?
No,
It wasn't a full
Okay.
story then.
So if you have ever been to Thailand, one of the first times I went, you show up and you know Thailand's awesome, all the normal Thailand things, but then you see people wrapped up in bandages everywhere, and you're like, and I was like, what? Going
It's like, oh, all these
on
people
here?
got tattoos.
Yeah, right. And then we got a moped, and then we realized
Yeah.
that it was because everyone falls on their moped
Yeah.
and gets road rash,
Yeah.
and that's why everyone was wrapped up. So it's pretty funny.
They're like on the beaches looking like mummies. And
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
So if you're gonna go to Thailand and get a moped, be careful because that is a very serious injury. Also, make sure to wear the plastic ice cream bucket helmet that they give you.
Yeah, it's not gonna save you at all.
Not because it's gonna save you. It's because that's how the cops make money. Because
Yeah.
I didn't wear it one time because I was like, that's stupid. Like it's not gonna save you anyways. And then
How much
we
they
get
charge
pulled
you?
over, and basically they just wanna
They want to bribe.
they want a bribe.
Yeah.
They just wanted.
They want to go out that night too.
Yeah, they just wanted a bribe. So
Yeah.
funny story. Side story.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But how many bikes do you have? Because that was the only bike I had, and I
Right
sold it. I wish I didn't
now-
sell it, but I sold it.
Right now I have 6, but from the course of, I would say when I was 19 years old I kind of stopped buying motorcycles when I was like 24, 25, and then just kind of kept what I have. I think I've owned about 35 or so.
Jesus,
Yeah, in that span of like 5 years.
I've only owned one, so
But I think my favorite are still the older CBs, the Hondas.
oh,
So majority of even my collection today are 1972 to 1978
kickstarts.
4-cylinder. Yeah, they have electric start, but they're all kickstart bikes, and I do prefer to kickstart the bike. Actually, one of the funniest stories, just to cap off this motorcycle segment, yeah, was, and this was actually, oh my God. So I used to rebuild motorcycles and sell them. And I had this one bike that was a custom frame. Some guy in the Fraser Valley got it made like hand welded and all that. And then he put the motor in. The bike was 70%, almost 80% complete. It just needed to be like wired and the lights and everything. So I bought it as like an 80% done project. And I finished the rest. I put the lights, I put the throttle cable, tuned the carbs and everything like that. And it was a Harley motor from like an 80s bike, like an 80s Harley. And it was a chopper bike. So the handlebars are up here. There's no rear suspension. There's like a small spring in the seat, right? So everything that hits the road goes up your spine. And it was a suicide shifter. So the left foot was the clutch, like a car. And then it was a sequential, like 3-foot bar.
Awesome.
So every time you shift, it's like, and then it was like your handlebars, you know, that's why I call it suicide shifter, because your hand leaves the handlebars. Anyway, I only took this bike like out 2 or 3 times to test ride it, to get gas and whatever. I really didn't like riding it. And then it actually sold generally quickly. But the story that stands out to me was I took it to the gas station near my house just to gas it up and everything like that. When I got to the gas station, I could already see this guy walking towards me because this is like open header bike and it was like fully tuned. When an older Harley runs right, it sounds like a drum set. When it idles, it'll go and like it was like fully, like it was just done so well. I roll up to the gas station, it's idling. He comes up to me before I take my helmet off. This thing's crazy, man. What is this? Where'd you get it? I was telling him, oh, I built it, I just finished it, it started out as this, blah, blah. And then I take my helmet off. And then he looks at me, oh. And I thought it's because I was young, because I was like 20 at the time.
Because you're Asian.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So it was, and
I
then
knew it.
Even funnier. So I
knew
take
it.
the helmet off, and then he's like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, interesting. And then, fair enough, he didn't mean it in a bad way, and I never take it in a bad way. He said, wow, don't see too many Orientals on these things. And I was like, yeah, for sure, man. I haven't met another one yet.
That's a funny story.
And there are a lot of Asian guys that ride either Harleys or bikes like that. But it was just so funny. Like that guy was so raw and so real. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And then I went in the gas station to pay for gas like with cash. And I just saw him outside. And that's the love of bikes. It brings together anybody, all age groups.
Cars too, I guess.
Yeah, and they just bring people together. And that's what I really love about like vehicles and things like that. So
I need to add that note. Yeah. I didn't own only one bike. I forgot. The first bike I ever had was in college with a friend of mine. He's now a police officer. I had an Enduro.
Okay.
An old kickstart Enduro that we just bought, and we were like just
ripped around.
Just ripping around in it.
Yeah.
Kickstart. Like old.
Dude, I love the kickstart. And speaking on that, the old Hondas that I have, like I said, they do have electric start, but I always kickstart it. I just love it. When you're rolling up to the curb, and then you get the prime kick going, and then zzz, man, like something about it, something about it. So, but yeah, we'll touch on the next topic of diving a little bit more into the real estate side. What are some tips, really basic, for sellers in any market? Some things that people miss, or something that when you're going through the listing process that people don't think about, and you mention to them and they say, oh, I didn't think about that. Or some tips that you feel like have helped you sell a home that was otherwise unsellable, maybe.
I think timing. I think people don't understand sometimes how long or how quick a home will sell for. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it depends on the market.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people think like, oh, if I put it on the market, it's going to sell. And a good example is the market right now, right? Like, things are still moving, but it's taking a while because there's so much inventory and so much competition, right? But I think timing is one of the big things, because if people are selling, usually they're trying to upsize, or they're trying to like retire or downsize, right?
Yeah.
And that requires other moving parts. So it's not just like I want to sell and then things happen sequentially, and next thing you know, bada bing, bada boom, right? Oh, okay, drink break.
Drink break.
Thank you. So I think timing is really important. Any time, whether it's a good time to sell or not a great time to sell. So that's one thing you got to notify the sellers of what's happening. Because I notice a lot of people, they think things, like I said, right away, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm going to sell this in like a month, and then we can move on, buy a place the following week. I'm like, well, no, normally it takes 2 months for this, 3 months. Next thing you know, it's 3-4 months, right? And they're like, oh, I didn't know it took this long, right?
Yeah.
So that's why planning ahead is really important.
The biggest thing.
Yeah.
And
what about you?
I would say pricing. And we just talked about this. A lot of sellers, especially in this market, I tell them too, and this happened to me so many times this year, where they ask me, is it a good time to sell? Like, I need to sell. And I just tell them straight up, I said, it's not a good time to sell, especially for what your goal is, how much you want to get out of this property, or what type of property it is. Just tell them it's not a good time, but they, for whatever reason, they need to sell it. And then they think, okay, you send me the comparables, you send me the averages, I want to price, and my assessment's this much, I want to price it at this price.
Well,
and I think they always aim, for too high of a number. And fair enough, of course, everybody wants to get the most.
Everyone wants to sell for the highest and buy for the lowest,
for
right?
sure.
And you can't blame anyone for that. But
100%.
The one thing that makes it difficult, and our job is to educate, but it makes it difficult, is people are emotionally attached to their home.
Yeah.
Right? They think their home is worth more because, well, I live in it. I'm just saying, like, I live in it. I know it's a great home. And it's like, okay, you're right. It's a great home for you, right? But there's other factors that go involved in it, right?
Definitely. And it's much better to price strategically than to price high. And that strategy.
A lot of people can't take, they're connected to the price.
Yeah.
Because they think the price is the value of what they are, what they put into it.
That's so true.
And that's the difficult part of our job,
Yeah.
right? To give them the data and try to separate the emotion from what the reality is, right?
Exactly.
Because, hey, You don't think I want to sell your home for $1 million
course.
over asking? Come on, of course I do, right?
Yeah.
But
Our job is to give you the real value, the reality of how much is, was really feasible.
yeah, and sometimes telling the truth is a hard part of our job, right? That's the
is.
real thing, right?
Yeah.
To be a good agent or an advisor
Yeah.
is, like I said, we're not about selling anyone, right? We're about giving you the right information where you can make an honest decision.
The best
right?
decision, yeah.
Because like right now, a lot of times I'm telling clients if they don't need to sell, hold it.
Don't. Yeah.
Right? Like of course I want you to sell, but the right thing to do is for you to make money is just to hold it. But of course, everyone has different situations. Like if you need to sell, you need to sell, right? I understand that, right? There's a family situation, there's things going on, right? But if you had the luxury of the time, then definitely hold.
Yeah. And when you mentioned just a few seconds ago, like, oh, my home is worth more because like I feel it, blah, blah, blah. Like, they have that emotional connection to it, but they don't know how people are going to react on the open market. This really reminded me of the Steveston listing that I had, the detached home. The layout was so weird, but we didn't even, I didn't realize how weird it was. And the seller didn't realize how odd their layout was until we tried to sell it. Because every single person who walked in the house, the first thing they look up, they look to the side, oh, what is this? And the reason why is because it had a split staircase. So it had one staircase that went up and then it split into a Y. Oh. And then there were 3 bedrooms on the right.
But they didn't see it, right? Until people were saying it, like outside people.
Yeah, they
right?
didn't realize how weird it was because for their family situation, how many people live in the home and whatever their dynamics, it was perfect.
Yeah.
But everybody, I came in, I was like, I thought it was odd, but then when everyone started saying it, I started, oh, it is very unique. And what it was, and I actually think it's a great floor plan, but when it splits, the master bedroom is its own wing.
Oh.
And then the 3 bedrooms that are upstairs are also its own wing. And it splits.
Huh.
Yeah. So in a way, it's good for privacy because let's say if you have, young kids above the age of 6 that are kind of a bit self-sufficient, but a little bit noisy, you put them in their room, they're safe to go, you're divided completely. And also because of how many turns the stairs had to make in order to get to the master bedroom, when you're in the master bedroom without closing the door and there's people talking in the living room, you couldn't hear them in the master bedroom.
But then that goes to how it was good for their situation.
Exactly.
So then they think it's worth a lot because it worked for them. But then someone else is like, that's not right.
Literally 90% of people didn't like it.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and you know what? And this brings us to another point since we're talking about selling is we went to a listing appointment recently.
Yes, yeah.
And someone was just wanting to get a second opinion because their home wasn't selling. And we were doing a lot of digging in the background. And what we realized was, remember, we had to tell them the hard facts, which no one told them was they actually bought the home way overpriced. Remember?
Way overpriced.
And no one brought that point up to the person we're talking about.
I actually didn't realize until I think, or it didn't really come apparent until we broke down the numbers and the history.
Yes.
And just to touch on that exact case, obviously in a high market, you're going to pay, over assessment, over asking, things like that. I think this one was pushing 500 something thousand over assessment in that year it sold.
It was something like that.
It was something like that. And then they put renovations in on top of that.
And I just couldn't imagine how the agent would let someone do that.
Yeah, it was. And, we're not, obviously, it's never, this isn't to say, hey, that agent did a bad job or anything like that. But it's kind of to be like, as a buyer, you have your agent, but you should also be informed yourself. When should they have said cut the cord? Because at the end of the day, the agent is going to advise you, but you as the buyer, as the seller, are the one that signs on the dotted line.
Yeah, I've had situations where they wanted to go 100, 200,000 over asking, and nothing wrong with agreeing over asking. It's what the market value is for that time.
Exactly, right? And at least like, are you overpaying? Like, if it's going to be your final home, and yes, you overpay by X amount, hey, at least you understand that you're doing that.
Yeah.
But if you don't even know you're doing that, and you're just like, well, I guess that's how much I have to pay, and we don't want to see that. We hated seeing that, actually.
Yeah. So the point was we had to dig in and tell people the truth. And like I said, they didn't want to sell it. And that's not a problem because we're here to inform, right? And that's what we did. And I'm happy we did that, right?
Exactly, yeah. And on the flip side, even if we were, a lot of people think, oh, they just want the listing. They just want the sale. I don't want to list that property because if I know they need to get a
Yeah.
certain number and I know we're
Yes.
not going to be able to achieve it, why are we wasting your time? Oh, there's a showing, we ruined your weekend. Oh, we need photographers in here, everything like that, and then it doesn't sell. Right? It's
Yeah.
we don't want to do that, and it saves you time, it saves everybody energy. Just to be honest with it, and that's a listing that we didn't get, but that doesn't matter.
Nope.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, and stepping away again from a little bit from the real estate, let's go back to the personal side. Let's touch on some curb appeal confessions.
Okay.
Maybe an embarrassing story from high school, maybe an embarrassing story from college, something in the last few years that happened to you, something that stands out, and you'd be not your deepest darkest secret, but something that you wouldn't automatically think to tell people.
Oh, you're gonna have to go first on this one. I'm trying to think of something right now. An embarrassing moment.
Yeah, even for myself, touching back on it, it's really hard to pinpoint. Maybe it's because I've had so many embarrassing moments, hard to pick one. But
I can't really think of one right now.
oh, not so much an embarrassing one, but this one really stands out to me. And when I got into a motorcycle accident a few years ago, and the lady that hit me was Vietnamese, like very Vietnamese, and she was apologetic and everything like that, but in the end she ended up lying to ICBC what happened, and whatever, that's another story. But when she came over and then tried to ask if I was okay and everything like that, I was still like coming to, and what ended up happening was I was turning left on like a protected light, and she ran the red and like T-boned me, and I kind of went flying and whatever. So I'm still like getting to my feet and coming to, and she comes over and she has this really, really like strong Vietnamese accent, like almost to the point, I'm pretty good with accents, but I couldn't really tell what she's saying. And she's just saying all this stuff to me. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, am I alive? Like, am I in heaven and they speak Vietnamese here? Like, what's going on? Anyway, it was so traumatic for me that I actually couldn't even eat in a Vietnamese restaurant for like 8-9 months after that. Because every time I'd hear that accent,
PTSD.
I'd be like,
PTSD.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm sure you as a first responder, like, it might sound hilarious and weird, and it might be me being like people, oh, no way, man, you're just being too sensitive. No, I'm like a very like unsensitive person. Nothing wrong with being sensitive, but I just knowing me as a person. But when I'd hear the Vietnamese accent, I'd be like, oh man.
You're PTSD from the accent.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought of a story now. I don't know if it's not embarrassing, but it's a story. So when I was really young, my dad had these connections, and this really wealthy person needed people, like an entourage, like basically who would open doors. I don't think I told you this, right?
No.
Open doors, like carry the suitcase, like get the car, like bring it around. Like he's really wealthy. I mean,
What line of business was this?
Remember the airline Harmony?
Somewhat,
Airways.
Yeah.
Like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was the owner.
Oh,
okay. He was like a tycoon from like Hong Kong.
Crazy. Okay.
But I don't know how my dad anyways, it was so random. But anyways, so basically I ended up like at like 19 years old working for this guy. And basically you're like the entourage. Like open the door, grab the car, like take him to the restaurant, like wait there, like go everywhere he goes, basically.
Okay.
Right? Like you're the guy,
You're
right?
the
Like
guy.
pour the drink, like whatever, right? And I was young and I was stupid, and it was like it was such a great opportunity, like because they were going around all over the world, and they would be like, "Hey, do you want to come?" Like all paid for.
Oh.
You're gonna stay at a 5-star hotel. You might stay here on yourself.
I didn't know you do this.
Yeah, I know. But this is when I was really young, and I was just like, I was so young and stupid. I was
what
like,
age was this?
Like I was like 19.
Okay.
Like 19,
cool.
20. And it was like, I was like, oh man, like I don't want to go away and like for a week in New York. And
You said you didn't.
I didn't want to. I was so dumb.
Oh my God.
So this is one of the things like I remember is like, I was like, I want to hang with my friends, like party. I was just 19 years old, right?
I want to throw my garage parties and make money selling.
That's right. So I was dumb. Like it was an opportunity which I think back on, which I should have taken.
Yeah.
So you know, when you're young, I'm just saying you should take advantage of the opportunities, but sometimes you don't realize it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something I wouldn't say not embarrassing, but it's just like something that I was like, I thought about
can
where
reflect back
I
on it,
reflected, I
yeah.
should have taken the opportunity. But this story, before we end this episode,
Yeah.
takes a twist. Really good twist. So this guy, okay, this tycoon guy, I used to have to stay overnight in it, like in his compound, like in the car. Like it wasn't inside. I was like
Okay.
waiting outside all night. I was like, you do like a commandant shift, like 12 to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
You just sit there, like just in case he wants to go out, or like, you know,
That was here
security.
in
It
Vancouver?
was here in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And then sometimes like women would come in and out of the night.
Yeah. How many?
One,
Uncountable?
two. No. And I was like, oh, fuck, all right, he's got some girls coming.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then I quit. Like this is like I quit, like because I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. You know, I don't know how long I was doing it for, but I forgot. But I quit.
Yeah.
And then months later, or like sometime later, he was picked up by the police for trying to pick up East Van hookers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Weird story.
Yeah, like I would, not that you should be doing this thing, but you would think he's better about it.
Yeah. So it was really weird. And like he was super wealthy.
Wow.
Like I remember when I was young and I was like, he's like, oh, I'm in a meeting for like 5 hours. Like just keep the car around, go wherever you want. I'll call you. I was driving in a Rolls Royce.
Oh
I was
my
like 20
God,
years
dude.
old. I was like in a Rolls, like going to my buddies, like, hey, let's like LA. I gotta come down. Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, it was crazy.
That's why people came to your parties like, you're rich as balls.
Yeah, he had Rolls. He had that Porsche. What's the Spy? The one with the one lug. Like,
Oh, the Carrera GT.
yeah, he had
'cause
that. He
oh
had
my
that.
God.
I remember that was in the garage.
Yeah,
Like he had all the cars.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Cheers to
Anyways,
that.
okay,
But
well.
to finish off, one more thing for this episode. 3 things you can't live without. You got to take with you every day. Like let's say you can only take 3 things. You have no bag, you have no pockets, you can only hold 3 things.
Oh, easy. Okay. Number 1, my phone. Okay. We're real estate, always attached to my hip. Bad, I know. Number 2, my computer. I actually never go anywhere without my computer. It's crazy because the only time you do that, you always need it.
Yeah.
And then last but not least,
The hat?
come on. You know, I always have a hat of some sort.
I need to ask you this next episode, but I want to hear the hat origins.
We can talk about that later. What about
next
you?
episode.
Before we end
Top
off
3
here?
things. Phone for sure. That's my accessibility to the world. After you mentioned computer, I was like, oh, I should have said that, but I'm not going to change my answer just because I heard your answer. Phone, car, and I don't know. You know what? I guess I'm pretty minimalist. I don't even know what my third one would be.
Well, we have actually an episode that we're planning.
Yeah.
Our 10
what's in your
must-haves.
bag?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
I
Then.
guess I'll figure out. I asked the question. I can't even figure out. So what?
Okay. Well, cheers. Thank
Cheers
you
to
everyone
that.
for watching. We'll see you next time on Curb Appeal.